this report every month. This first report's going to be a lot more detailed because I need to explain what all this stuff is. So it's going to go on quite a while. In the future, I'm just going to highlight changes, things that are significant. I'm not going to have to go explain what each one of these things are. But if you ever need me to, I can. But I want to keep it brief. Usually, they're about 10 minutes long. So this gives us a good baseline as to what we're working with. So first thing I want to point out, and I'm at my girlfriend's house, and I have this really cheap laptop, so it gets slow from time to time, so I might be pausing. I changed the H1 up here. Before this was up here, I changed this, and this was an H2, and you want what's top to be an H1, so it gives the what you do and the geo, meaning geography, in your business name. So you can see your business name is now Perfect Cleaners of Naples. I'm going to update this logo excuse me, to say Perfect Cleaners of Naples instead of Professional Cleaning Service. This is just so when we make the change in Google Business Profile, Google thinks that's the real business name. And I changed the footer down here to say Perfect Cleaners of Naples. Obviously, don't worry about changing your cars and all that. That's a little bit overkill. Okay, sorry, I'm choking a little bit. Okay, so the chart. So this is what you've done the last 6 months. You can see there's been a very little growth. Just starting about a month ago, or you've started to bounce up a little bit, but for the last 6 months, starting here, you went up a little bit, then you've been pretty stagnant. This is a client I'm working with now. This is when I started working with him in March. So you can see this is a normal expectation. If you're looking for progress to hockey stick up, it's not going to happen, but what you want is the slow and steady progress. And you can see there's down weeks. So things might go down for 2 months at a time in a row. That's fine. You really want to look at things in 3 to 4 month increments. Of course, you want to look at things every month, but if you don't make progress in a single month, that's not a huge deal. That's very, very common. You might go down in a month, and then down the next month, and then back up the following month. The reason is, if I type in cleaner, near me here, this is coming from Google Business Profile or Google Maps. These top 3 results. This is called the map pack. This is ideally where you want to be. These are the top results. If I search this 2 hours later, these might be totally different. You might be, and as you can see, you want to be in the top 3 because the 4th one is hidden behind the Load More button. So what's ranking 5th now may be number 1 later, right? So these aren't, just because it's 1 here doesn't mean it's 1 all the time. It's just for this specific search. And it's for my specific search on my specific laptop at my specific address. Somebody 5 miles down the road is going to get a completely different set of results because proximity is a huge ranking factor. That's why it's important to have that address, which you have, and that's what we're going to modify in Google Business Profile. So just keep that in mind. So this is coming from Google Analytics. So how many visitors came to your website? You can see you got 64 in the last month. And these aren't 100% accurate, right? If you used another metric tracking platform, it might say 150. Another one might say 30. It's imperfect, but as long as you're using the same metric tracking tool consistently, you can at least compare it month to month to month, right? Just because it says 64 doesn't mean you got exactly 64. You could have had 54, you could have had 90, but this is a good ballpark figure. What we want to see next month is hopefully, it could go down to 34, but what we want to see hopefully next month is like 71, something like that. But we're not going to know until it really chugs away for months and months and months, and we put in months and months and months of work to get things going. So how many of these users were new? 62. Makes sense. You're not going to have a lot of repeat people visiting your website because you're not like an online retailer. How many people typed in your website directly? So direct means they literally typed in Perfect Cleaners, right? The overwhelming majority of your traffic came from direct. Organic means how many people came from search. So how many people typed in house cleaner near me and found your result here in organic search and clicked on it. This is what I'm working on increasing over time. How many were referrals? So from like an email link or something like that. Social click 0, unassigned 0, from email click 0, from video 0. We're not doing any event tracking at this time. So you don't have to memorize all this. You just have to have a general understanding of what's going on here. So clicks, we're going to get rid of that. That was a note to me. I showed you. So these clicks are from Google. When it said Google Search Console are clicks from Google Search. Right, so this excludes anybody going to Bing and typing in house cleaner near me. Now, we will be tracking that once we get that configured, but right now we're not. We're going to spend the majority of our time on Google, though, because that's just where most of the eyeballs are. So you had 8 clicks in the last month from Google Search. So 8 people typed in house cleaner near me, or window cleaner, or sanitization services or something, and got to your website from Google Search. Impressions. How many times did you show up in search? 8,000. Now that seems pretty drastic. Laptop locked up because this is a horrible laptop, and I'm going to get a new one for over here. I can't have more than like 4 or 5 tabs open at the same time. But you had 8,300. You showed up in search 8,300 times. Now, you could be like way down the page and they don't see it, so don't really pay attention to that. This is just for me to kind of keep an eye on things. Click-through rate, 0.1. So click-through rate is, of the people that saw you in search, how many people clicked on it? 0.1. It's not really useful because what if you're way down on the page, right? They didn't really like see you at the top of the results necessarily. Your average position ranking, 31, again, can be totally misleading because once we start ranking, you might be averaging position 120. That's an improvement because now you're ranking, but it's going to make this look worse. And how many backlinks? So how many links do you have coming into your site? So are you mentioned on any Naples news websites or anything? So you have 114. So this is a really good ranking signal. Sitemap. So you have 2 sitemaps, and you have 1 error. So if we go here, and this is something that's going to need to be resolved, I'm going to actually put that in my list up here. So this is just it gives Google a map of what the site is. So if you click here, oh, now it says success, but I'm not looking at yours. So let's go to Perfect Cleaners. You can see you got an error here. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but we just need to probably get rid of it. But I need to go dig around and make sure. You probably don't have this sitemap anymore. So just stay on top of it and get figured out. Core Web Vitals, it's not being registered. That's performance stuff. We're going to get to that more in a second. No errors, no cross stats. Pages. So, and I'm going to monitor this in much more detail with the script that I have. But what this shows me is you have 1 page, down here, sorry. Losing my mind, apparently. I think it was right here. So you have a page that you've created, but it's not even indexed, meaning it's not going to show up ever in Google Search because Google doesn't think it's good. I think we might want to get rid of this because COVID's kind of a thing in the past. That's something I got to consider. But you can go here and see that it's not in Google. So I can request indexing. It used to index a lot quicker, but it might take 3 or 4 days to get in. It might not get in, right? So this is something I have to keep an eye on to make sure all the pages we create, if we create them and Google doesn't show them in the search results, so it's pointless, right? So this is something I have to monitor, and I have tools to do all this. Every other page you have, every significant page is indexed, so that's good. Bing, so as I showed you, this is Google Search Tools. Bing is for Microsoft Bing. We don't have that configured yet. We are going to do that. Bing Places, so we have Google Business Profile, which if you know pizza near me, these are coming from Google. So it's like the modern day Yellow Pages, right? Bing has their own called Bing Places. You're not in Bing Places. Now, a lot of people don't use Bing. If you don't know what Bing is, it's Google's Microsoft search engine. However, ChatGPT and other AI interfaces, or let's just call them LLMs, do use it under the cover. So it's important if somebody searches for house cleaner Naples, we start showing up in this list, and we start showing up in the results right here. The overwhelming majority of traffic is not going to come from Bing, but a lot of people overlook it, so it's something we want to focus on. Even if it's only 5 to 10% of your revenue, it's something we want to focus on. Close these windows. Also, you can see, let me show you this. When I did the audit a long time ago, what your business name is and all this stuff affects ranking factors. So you can see like how it says the Cleaning Authority Naples. They're getting an extra ranking boost because they're using the geo or the location in the title. But this isn't the real business name, so I'm going to go and report all these. That, like, Molly Maid of Naples and Bonita Springs. It's just called Molly Maid. It's not called Molly Maid of Naples and Bonita Springs. Also, ones that are using fake addresses. I'm going to go report all those. And I'm pretty sure I have, yeah, that's a task. These are just tasks I'm adding as I'm going along today that didn't fit in the overall plan I put together a while back. Okay, you're not ranking in AI. So if somebody goes to ChatGPT, house cleaner Naples, you're not showing up yet. But if you can do best probate lawyer, Parma, Ohio is one of my clients. I got him now. Hopefully it's going to show. It was yesterday. Like I said, these things that come, it's Mizak and Passetti. You can see I got them. There were 2 yesterday. They're showing up 3 now. So you don't want to just show up in the Google search results. You want to show up in the AI search results too. And there's a whole other process for doing all that. You've gotten 0 leads from your website so far that I could find. We're gonna need to talk about this and figure out how to measure it. But we'll get into all that. Let me add that to the list. So I know that's a part of the payment schedule, is how many leads you're getting. No big deal. We'll get that sorted out. Not worried about it. So in the future, I've spent 12 minutes already going over all this. This first section would have taken like 3 minutes. So don't worry, you're not going to have to watch this whole thing once a month. And so we're going to estimate, if you get 5 email leads, we're going to estimate you got 15 calls. That's a general ball. Like I said, if it's not accurate and it's not actually, I'm going to trust you on that. Just tell me, right? I'm not going to, like, if you're not getting that amount, just let me know, right? So don't worry about this. Just this shows up that you're taking up 2 pages in the Google search results. SEO site checkup was okay. That was okay. You're not using schema. So schema. So this is a web page for saying they do personal injury law. So what schema is, it's good to have all this text explaining all of this, like what they do. But you can put some code, and AI uses this stuff a lot to really understand the context. What I'm saying here is, okay, it can probably figure out what this is by reading it, like by AI, like figuring it out. But we're explicitly saying, this is a service. This is the description of the service. It's a legal service. We take USD. These are the locations it serves, etc., etc. So we need to explicitly mention that. It's not something anybody sees. It's just code that's put on the back end of the page. If you do it for the home page, so those are for the service pages, but if you do it for your main company page, you'll see it says this is an organization. This is a legal service. This is their logo. This is the description. This is their phone number, their email, their social media, etc., etc. So it's not configured. We're going to get to all that. Might be months down the road, but we're going to get to it. So these are metrics that, these are just third-party SEO metrics that help me understand what kind of progress we're making. I've already used it twice. Anyway, it's domain authority. You don't really have to understand what they are. Trust flow, citation flow. You have a 9, 0, and 4 score. These go up really, really slow. So even in 6 months, if we could get this up to like 12, 1, and 6, I'd be happy with it. Something like Yahoo was like 93 and, whatever. So just a third-party metric to help me understand what's going on. So a lot of this stuff isn't only to report status to you. It's if something's broken, I'm going to catch it at least once a month. Because let's say this DA goes from 9 next month and it goes to 2. I know something happened and I need to go figure out what's going on. So it's kind of a sanity check for me as well. Okay, what did this say? Forgot. Oh, yeah, but on your home page, we're going to fix. I think I didn't fix it yet. This is going to be one of the quick things I'm going to fix. You go home. Here, this is broken. Goes 404s. It should go here, but you can see the URL here isn't SEO friendly. It goes to services test page URL. This is going to be changed to something like home cleaning service, Naples, Florida. Something like that. And I'm going to do that So all these URLs are going to change. The links are going to stay the same. It's going to take effort to go into each page and determine where they're all linking to. So once I update the links for all these pages, I then need to go here and make sure that all of these that have links, learn more, even though learn more, that this is linking to the right place. So this says window washing as the link, which is pretty good, but it needs to say window washing Naples, Florida. You're adding that geo context. For stuff like home watch, laundry services, it just says laundry, so that doesn't tell us anything, right? So what we're going to change this to is something like free delivery, or what I need to research it, laundry service, Naples, Florida. Now, once we get into GBP, I'm not sure we're not going to focus on these, because think about it. When Google's understanding, trying to figure out what a web page is, it goes, okay, this is a home cleaning business. What it commonly sees and it expects are pages dedicated to window washing, sink cleaning, eco-friendly, commercial cleaning, all that stuff. Most businesses that do, as far as I know, and I'm going to research this in a lot more detail, that do cleaning do not also offer laundry services and home watch. So that could kind of be confusing the algorithm a little bit. It doesn't mean we don't mention them. It just means we may not explicitly tell Google that we're those services as well. So because when we let me show you. So you can see this is your GBP. This is going to change to Perfect Cleaners of Naples. But when we go here, you can see your categories are house cleaning, window cleaning, and those are your only two. But if we look for your competitors, we can see what categories they're using. So we want to make sure and use their categories. It's going to populate here in a second. So you can see they're using, you have those two, house cleaning and what I can't remember the other one was. It's not, this one isn't populating, whatever. House cleaning, service establishment. We want to use service establishment. Okay, I don't know why it's not populating. Let's do the home watch. Let's just do Miami because maybe it's cached or something. So look, home healthcare service. You're obviously not that. Property service establishment. So what I'm saying is, it looks like a lot of these home watch companies are using the GBP category of property management company, and based on the little research I've done, house sitter agency. Interesting, I didn't know that. However, what I'm trying to say is, I may not include that in your GBP profile. I might have to research it because it might confuse things. Because Google and algorithms don't expect house sitting agencies to be also cleaning companies, right? And when Google's determining, when I say Google, just think of algorithm. It could be Bing, it could be Google, it could be whatever. It wants to provide results that are, it's 100% accurate or as close to 100% as possible, that the result is accurate. If you have a GBP that's configured as a car wash, but also house cleaning company and a pizza restaurant, that's adding a lot of uncertainty into the analysis it's doing, and it could throw things off. So that's something we're just going to have to see how it goes and do it one way for 3 months. If it doesn't work, then change it up. You know, it's just something you can't change, let it sit for 2 days and see if it works. You have to let it sit, unfortunately, for months and months. And you got a weird contact us thing I need to figure out too. You're not doing a mailing list or robots at text is okay. Socials, we need to put them on the site, and they're not updated either. So I'm going to put that's the whole part I have is to, I'm going to schedule out. So a year is 52 weeks. I'm going to schedule out a post every week, and it's going to give you, and I have a GPT that does this. It's going to basically post a cleaning tip every week for people, and it's going to automatically go to Facebook, so you don't have to worry about anything. Now, I still would update it, you know, and add your personal stuff if you have specials, if you just got a really good review, you want to highlight that on social media, but you don't have to do it, because I'm going to at least post something once a week. It's called a social signal, and the algorithms use that to see that you're an active business, you give a damn. And also people look at your social media. Right now your social media hasn't been updated since 2022. I think. So you can imagine if somebody's researching it. And so we're going to change this to perfect cleaners. Let me make sure I update that too. I already did it in footer, but anyway. And logo, which I have on my list, okay? So you can see here you haven't updated in 2022. So okay. Now ideally would it be great to just post all kinds of useful social media, you know, that's very specific to your business, of course, but I mean, do you want to hire a full-time social media manager and pay him whatever the salary is would be there, $100,000 per year? Like, you know, it's not really realistic. So you kind of do the minimum with that. Crazy Egg, you have a script that's running that doesn't need to be there. It's for watching website usage. Site links are present. So what I mean by this is it's a good sign that underneath your listing in Google you have this big box. So I'm going to monitor this month to month. Sometimes it'll change. If it goes away, that's a sign to us that Google's not liking something. Okay, your performance score, meaning how fast. Okay, I don't know if it just cut off when we say that again. Your performance score, meaning how fast your website loads, is a B in GT metrics, but it's green, so that's good. And your web page test scores are pretty good. You don't got to. This is just for me to check month to month. So if your website is slow because something got updated or something screwed something up, at least we're gonna find out once a month. We're just not gonna let it sit indefinitely. That's what this is for. Okay, so Google Business Profile. You had 65 interactions, so somebody typing house cleaner, and coming here, and like clicking here, and clicking map or whatever. 65 total interactions last month. Of those, you had 270 views, so 270 viewed it. 4 called, so 4, and again, this isn't if you want to really figure out how many calls you're getting, you really want to put call tracking on there. Somebody clicked on call here. It doesn't mean that once they went to your website, they couldn't click here and call, or just manually type it in the phone. You know, if you really want to track exact call metrics, we'd have to do call tracking on your phone, on your business, and that's an extra cost. It's not something I would make money on, but you know, you're going to pay probably $50 a month to do call tracking. I don't think we need to worry with it right now. If you're bringing in a lot of more revenue, it's something you'd want to do. We're not doing online bookings. Might be we want to do online bookings. Something we can look at. 57 people clicked for directions. 5 people clicked to your website, and 2 people left reviews. So we've talked about this a lot. You want to ideally get, I mean, if you can get 5 reviews per week, that's awesome. But I say a realistic goal is 1 or 2 per week. I think that's good, and if you look here at the top results, they have 533, 515, 380, 380, 44, 132, 17. So you can see it's not the only ranking factor, but I think you're around 30. So you know, ideally want to have more than the top result, which, I mean, 500, that's going to take years and years to get there. But realistically, I don't think it's impossible to say within a year's time we couldn't get maybe over 100. But it's more important what's said in the reviews and the consistency of them than it is getting them all the time. Once you get to about 10 or so, that seems to be the cutoff point. But it's extremely important to get them consistently. Because if you hadn't gotten one in 4 years and somebody's reading it, they might think, wow, these people they're not getting new customers anymore. And we want to make sure, as we've talked about, we'll get into a lot more detail on this, we want to respond to all these reviews. And you did those 2 that we got, so that's really good. Okay, so the next part, we're going to track these keywords. It's 12 keywords. So if somebody searches for Airbnb cleaning Naples, now there's 1,000 variations on each one of these. So if somebody searches for Airbnb cleaning Naples, where do you show up for me in Louisiana? Right now I do it in incognito mode, you know. So this is going to be totally different based on your address where somebody's doing this from, but it just gives us a good general idea. Now also it could be somebody could type Airbnb. They could type vacation rental cleaning Naples. That we're not tracking. We're not tracking Airbnb cleaning service Naples. We're not doing in Naples. You know what I mean? There's 1,000 different variations, so there's no way to possibly catch all of them. But it's just, this gives us a good guide as to what's going on. As long as we track the same consistent metrics month over month over month, then we're good. So what this means is for Airbnb cleaning, let me do an incognito mode. Because if I go to your website a lot, it's going to factor that into if it's going to rank you or not. It might rank you a lot higher. So I'm going to do an incognito. Airbnb cleaning Naples. Now it's not going to track if somebody does near me, right? But you know, if we have too much data, we just get lost in it. We're paralyzed and we can't do anything because there's too much, right? Let's do this. So this first Airbnb cleaning M, that stands for map pack. So in the map pack, and I did this a couple hours ago, so it might have changed. Where do you rank? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not seeing you. I think you don't. I only look at the top 20. I mean, even under 10 is pretty worthless. You weren't in the top 20, so all I do is I do 20 plus. So Airbnb cleaning Naples, oh, whoops. Is the same thing. However, we're looking in the search results down here. Are you showing up here in the organic search results? Which you're not. You're 20 plus, so we're not worrying about it. And you can see you're not ranking good for pretty much. There's a 1 or 2 you're ranking good for. 8 for commercial cleaning Naples in the map pack. And you're ranking 1 for construction site cleaning Naples, organic, which is good. Surprising, actually. And there's 1 you're ranking 6 for office cleaning in the map pack, but you're ranking 11 in organic. And this is very strange. You're ranking construction site cleanup in organic. So in the search results, let me actually show you. And it could be a little different, like I said. It changes all the time. Wow, now it's not showing up anything. Construction site cleanup Naples. Weird. This you're right here. Okay, I'm going to update that. So you're 13. I might have made a typo there. Okay, I probably left that out. Let's go to the one that's number 6. That's the one I highlighted in green. Office cleaning Naples. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you're not ranking at all, which is this is how hard it is to really. Okay, now you're ranking 17, so we will change that. That's disappointing. I thought we were doing better, but we haven't done anything yet, so it's expected. And in the map pack, 1, 2, 3, right here, you're 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's change this, and you can see here. It said 11, now it's 4. So you can see how much these things jump around. This is literally from 2 to 3 hours ago. But we just want to see patterns over multiple months. This is just the beginning. This is just to get an idea. I'm human. I can make mistakes. We might see next month this is like 22. Then let's just not do 22. I don't count over 20. This is just 17, 15, 19. And it's like, okay, obviously I just made a mistake there and it wasn't 4. Like I made a typo or something. And there's tools to automate a lot of this stuff, and we do automate it, but I like to manually see it. Because if it's just a chart, I don't really absorb it like I do really coming here and looking at all this stuff. So these are all the things we're tracking. If there's anything else you want to track, we can track them. So what you're seeing here, all these keywords here, is also what you're seeing down here. So Local Falcon's the tool I use. So you don't really have to see this. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. You don't need to understand what this means, but you can see these are the keywords: office cleaning Naples, eco-friendly Naples, maid service Naples. These are all the keywords over here. And you can see your scores are all red and orange. There's no green. What we want to happen, so this is a client I work with who's given me permission to use this as an example. Over time, you can see with him it was very similar to yours. This is back in March. Then we started we started getting a little bit of yellow and one green. Then we stayed about the same the next month. Then you can see a little more green sneaking in. And look, we really, in month 4 or 5, we really started ranking. Now we backtracked a little bit, but that's common, right? So you can see we went from red and orange. This is just ranking position, average ranking position, and share of local voice. You're gonna understand that, but you want green, right? You don't want red. But you see, look at the colors. As we've gone on, we've really improved it. So now now this is him. So this is, if I search for lawyer, Parma, Ohio, you can see how he started out. Right where he lives, he was ranking good. That's common because you're searching right from your address. So you're literally going to commonly going to rank very high. But you can see there's a lot of, if you search from, what does that say, University Heights, he was ranking 20th plus. But as you can see, month 1, so just pay attention, it's all red and green. 1 green. Month 2, we really made improvement. Now this is a quick turnaround. You don't expect this in the first month. It's because it jumped back. But you can see the top right is 9. Look at month 1. It was 20 plus, or 20. Now it's 9. So we've made improvement. We went to green and yellow. So we went from ranking very low all around outside of his area to ranking pretty high. So let's just take criminal defense lawyer in his city, Parma, Ohio. Ranked high right at his address because it makes sense, as I've explained. But look, all red. Month 2, not any progress. This is more normal. But you probably look, if you look at the numbers, 19 here in the bottom left, it went to 15. 20 plus went to 8. So it's still red, and there was improvement. You're just not seeing it visually. You can see here, now we're getting some orange creep in. So just to be super clear, this says Watersonville Heights. If somebody in Watersonville Heights searched for criminal defense lawyer, Parma, they ranked 6 in the Google search results. Right? And you can see here, now look where we're at here. And we backtracked a little bit, it looks like. But just look at the progress from here, going back to month 1. Let's take one more. Let's just go to personal injury lawyer. Nothing. Just that one ranking right at their address, ranking 3rd. Nothing month 2. We're starting to creep in month 3. Month 4 got a little better. And then month 5, when we made a backtrack this past month, again, totally normal. I even told him when I was giving him this monthly report, don't expect this to stay. This is way too much of an improvement from this. This is an outlier. But look at this compared to this. All red, 1 green, and now green with some yellow starting to creep in, right? So let's go to yours. So Airbnb. So if somebody searches for Airbnb cleaning Naples, you're showing up first right where you're at, and you got some 4th result over here, all red over here. Commercial cleaning, deep cleaning, eco-friendly cleaning, home watch. See, nothing, not ranking anything for home watch, so we got to figure that out. House cleaning. So house cleaning Naples, if somebody types that, your main thing, you rank 4th over here to the right, whatever. This is a 20-mile radius, a 10-mile radius. Think. Laundry delivery service, maid service, office cleaning, you're ranking decently. Senior home cleaning, window cleaning. So the way to approach this, a main way to do it, I can't really read this, El Dorado Acres, or let's say this is Heritage Bay. So if you offer window cleaning in Heritage Bay, what you want to do we need to create a web page that explicitly says you do Heritage Bay window cleaning service, right? Also, Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back. Why is it not letting me edit? Hold on one second. I didn't even look at this yet. Your service area, right here, your service area, we need to compile a better list of, and this, when I'm doing the GBP, which is like one of the first things I'm going to do after these initial little quick fixes here. He's going to take, I shouldn't say quick, it's going to take a couple weeks to get through all this. One of the next things I do is core GBP stuff. That's when I'm going to get to this, and I'm going to talk to you, or I can use AI. I'm going to ask AI. I'll show you exactly what I'll do. I have a project for you, so it knows literally about your company. What locations other than Naples should we target within a 10-mile radius? Okay? And so what we'll do, Marco Island, right? So that, I don't know, let's even see if that's even if that's something we can even type in. Yep, Marco Island. Boom, we want to put that in. So I'm going to run these by you. My computer's hanging up. Let me pause it. Sure, if these are actually cities or just like neighborhoods. If it's not a competitive thing, you normally want to do cities, right? But you can imagine like Los Angeles is super, super competitive. So you don't want to create pages for Laurel Canyon, you know, Beverly Hills. You want to go into where the business is, and there's neighborhoods, right? So instead of LA Dental Clinic, Beverly Hills, even though you would have that, but it's super competitive, you would create pages for LA Dental Clinic like Koreatown, Wilshire, not Boulevard, but Wilshire, stuff like that, right? So that's kind of where we're headed. So this was super long. In the future, these are only going to be, excuse me, 10 minutes long or so. I'm going to highlight the things that are really positive or really negative. But if you want me to go into more detail every time I can, if you want a refresher on what all this stuff means, or right now if something didn't make sense, if you want me to go into more detail to talk about, you know, what site num is, let me know. Or what does this really mean, right? We can go to that. This just tracks AI results. More AI stuff. Yeah, so I hope that helps. And we're starting. And I'm getting that logo hopefully changed here pretty soon. Hopefully today or tomorrow. And then I'm going to do those tasks. I'm going to make a few changes in GBP before I even get to those quick tasks, like change your business name and stuff. But you can see there's just a lot. One of these, like this, ensure consistent name, address, phone on all sites and citations. Looks like it's one bullet point. However, what this means is every place you're mentioned, Facebook, Yelp, MapQuest, these all need to say the exact same thing. Because it goes back to Google wanting, and algorithms wanting to make sure the results they have are accurate. So if your business has it, sometimes it's ink, sometimes it's Perfect Cleaner, sometimes it's Perfect Cleaner's janitorial service, sometimes it's something else. Google doesn't understand, like, or the algorithm doesn't understand what it really is. So as you can imagine, this is going to take months and months to clean all this stuff up, to make it as consistent as possible. We're not going to be able to clean all of them up, but it's always an 80-20 rule, right? If you can clean up 80% of it, at least Google has a pretty good understanding that, you know, right now if 15% say one thing, 20% say another, 8% say another, 30% say another, Google really doesn't know. But if 80 to 90% all say Perfect Cleaners of Naples, that's has a pretty confident understanding of the businesses are the same. Because you can imagine, if I go into AI, let's see what it says. Top house cleaners in Naples, Florida. If you go dig in, to what's happening in the background. It's looking at all of these directories, BizProfile, Yelp, HomeAdvisor, to find out which ones are mentioned the most and which ones have the best ratings. If you're listed as one way on another one, and another business name on another one, and another one on a business, it doesn't know you're the same business. It can kind of figure it out with address and everything, but you want to make them 100% consistent. So, yeah, hope this helps, and we'll talk soon. Let me know what you think of all this and if it makes sense. See you.